Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of What's in Electric Avenue this week. uh, Thanks for joining me. So, I do these weekly videos. I've been doing them since the pandemic started. And I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, is this going to be something that people are going to care about? And I've actually had more people saying things lately, like they've been watching these. So, I really appreciate that. Thanks for um, taking your time to watch what I'm trying to show you or say. I think time is precious, and the longer I live, the more I realize how precious it is. So I really appreciate that. So keep your positive comments coming. I mean, do I really need to hear the negative ones? um, don't make me feel bad now. Okay, so let me get to what's on tap for this week. So there's a lot. We're in the first week of June 2022. This is June 3rd. I would say probably the big, from my perspective, the big or most interesting sort of, I guess you call archival release of the week. And it's not like it hasn't been heard before, but is The Prince and the Revolution live 1985. God, I love this picture. I know some people think it's cheesy. I think it's awesome. Um, so, and then track listing on the back, you can see it's kind of thick, um, sort of wide, 3 records. And it's not break the bank expensive, which is good. This is the show that when they released the Purple Rain deluxe CD about 5 years ago, right after Prince's death, he'd worked on the remastering of that album, and they wanted to throw a live show in there, so they threw in a Syracuse show from 1985, and this is the same show. So a little bit, sort of a bummer in a way that they didn't pick a different show. But this show was great because it did sort of represent what the revolution was all about at that time. And so you can either get the vinyl edition, which as I said, 3 records. This contains the last side is only the song Purple Rain, and it's 19 and a half minutes long. There are plenty of guitar solos on that will probably blow your mind as they did mine. But it's cool because the CD version that came out, the DVD that was in there of this show was kind of bad quality. It was sort of like they just took a VHS tape and transferred it over and didn't really do anything to it. So this has remastered audio, and it's the first time that the audio is available on its own. And also, they release it separately. So if people want the vinyl and they're not really interested in watching the video, they did reissue the video in a smaller pack. Now this time it's a Blu-ray instead of a DVD, and it is 2 CDs of the concert. So I still have people that say I don't have a Blu-ray player. I would think it's got to be something like this that really just pushes you over the edge, because it's the clips that they've been showing online of the remastering of this have been extremely convincing, making the original DVD that came out in that other version look kind of, well, let's put it bluntly, crap. Okay, so this is the one that you want, and again, 2 CDs and a Blu-ray, so, or the vinyl. But a fantastic show. If you're watching the video, I don't want to give too much away, but in the last few songs during Baby I'm a Star, the other touring bands that were on that tour with Prince, The Time and Apollonia 6, come out, and they're on stage too, dancing around, and a whole bunch of people get on stage, and it's just a lot of fun to watch, and it really takes you back to that moment when Prince just exploded. And it was I don't know, in some ways I kind of think he was even more electric stage performer. Michael Jackson was quite the stage performer. Prince was just an incredible musician and stage performer. So, I don't know. Now we can start pitting the two against each other. I just was recently, by the way, watching some YouTube video the other day that said when Prince did the Batman soundtrack, the original idea was to have him do the part of the Joker, have Michael Jackson do the part of the doing like the Batman part, and then have George Michael doing love songs. And that would have been really weird and disjointed. And now to think about it, all three of them are dead. That's terrible. Three of the most iconic popular artists of that decade are gone. So, hey, something to think about. A guy who's still with us, though, and cranking out the live records, Neil Young. This actually came out about a month ago on CD. This is the Live at Royce Hall 1971. So you may want to give that a try if you're a Neil fan. The other one is Live at Dorothy Chandler Pavilion 1971. So there have been a lot of Neil shows from the same sort of era. There's some track overlap, and then there's a lot of different ones too. So it's kind of cool that they're putting this stuff out. And Neil certainly knows what he's doing, I guess, because they all sell a lot. And there's another unreleased Crazy Horse album that was done about 20 years ago called Toast, coming out July 8th. So you'll have even more Neil for your summer. This I was really looking forward to also. Amy Winehouse live at Glastonbury 2007. If you've never seen that show, whether it was on YouTube or whatever, you probably should. But she was really in her element by this point in time. You know, her versions of Me and Mr. Jones, Valerie, Rehab, You Know I'm No Good, Tears Dry on Their Own. It's just, Love is a Losing Game. What a loss, folks. What a loss. I mean, you can sort of like say, oh, she had problems. She was just another one of those with problems. I'm telling you right now, there's people that they just cannot be replaced. So, tragic. One more reissue this week that kind of popped up, and these are super limited, and they'll probably be gone by the time you see this video. I don't know. Nah, probably not, but they'll be close. Grateful Dead 3 from the Vault. This has been out before, I believe, but it's been a long time since I've seen it, maybe 4 or 5 years now, and I don't know, there's only a couple of those floating around, so they're not cheap. When is the Grateful Dead cheap? Somebody tell me. What, Skeletons in the Closet, maybe? Okay. Drive By Truckers' new album. Welcome to Club 13. And I always love their cover art. We have a restaurant locally that features the artwork by the guy who's done a lot of their paintings and such. Anyway, this is the 14th album by the Drive By Truckers. A reckoning with a duality, the things that make you alive and how they sometimes can kill you. A life-affirming flashlight for the dark nights of one's soul. Guest appearances from Margot Price, Mike Mills, and Schaefer Yana. I hope I said that right. Anyway, Drive By Truckers fans, get your Patterson hood on. Okay, Angel Olsen returns with Big Time. So this is a shift for Angel. Her last record, All Mirrors, was very synthesized and sort of a experimentation in that. And then she did a covers EP about a year ago, 5 songs from the 80s that were very synthetic. And this is, well, it's more earthy. So she's returning to Earth. And that's on opaque pink vinyl. Andrew Bird's new album. It's called Inside Problems. Love these cover photos. If you didn't catch Andrew in the last season of Fargo, the one that Chris Rock was in, he was great. And He's such a great Americana artist. He just keeps making things. Super talented. He did a lot of whistling and violin on that show, and that's what he's sort of known for. Okay, Bill Evans. You Must Believe in Spring. This is a sort of a big remaster reissue here coming from Craft Recordings, and it's his 1977 studio album. Evans' final recording sessions featuring bassist Eddie Gomez and drummer Elliot Zygmunt. All analog mastering from original tapes by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. 2 LP set cut at 445 RPM, pressed on 180 gram at RTI. There you go. I just read you the sticker. But yeah, this is sort of a late period masterpiece for Bill Evans. I was just looking at some of the websites that do ratings and such, and all of a sudden it was like a blip that was like, everyone thinks very highly of that album. So check it out. Other jazz reissues, we had two Tone Poets again this week from Blue Note, also mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent. That guy's busy, just like Bernie Grunman is busy. And we have Gerald Wilson, his big band, Moment of Truth. So this is interesting because it was originally on Pacific Jazz Records, and at some point Blue Note acquired the rights to that. So it's a very nice tip-on jacket. I know people love that term a lot these days. Freddie Hubbard, that's the other big one. Freddie Hubbard's Breaking Point. This is a classic. Features James Spaulding, Ronnie Matthews, Eddie Kahn, and Joe Chambers. And I think it's one of his larger selling Blue Note records too. So Freddie Hubbard, Breaking Point. Okay, on to things other than jazz. Robert Fripp, Washington Square Church. So these are previously unreleased Frippertronic performances, mixed from the original tapes by David Singleton. 200 gram super heavyweight vinyl. These are in sort of limited supply, so if for some reason I run out, they may have to go on some kind of back order thing, but it's basically, Frippertronics are sort of, well, some of you don't know. Robert's an electric guitarist, and he does a lot of things with pedals, loops, overtones, and it's all about like colors and shading, and it's very cool that album exists. So okay, another Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood. This is Light in the Attic, I believe, put this out. Number 3 in the Nancy Sinatra archival series. Yes. And this one features Some Velvet Morning and Summer Wine. Jackson is on here. You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin', their version of it. I think a lot of people know Nancy from These Boots Are Made for Walkin'. A lot of people may not know Lee unless they sort of know Nancy and the lore of that. But, he was singer, songwriter, producer, and had a very deep voice. And so they make quite an interesting pair here, Nancy and Lee. Speaking of Sinatra, there is a remaster of Sinatra's Watertown, and this was done, Capitol, it says Universal, sort of did the actual project. This is sort of a vinyl remaster reissue, and I'm not sure. This is basically must be pressed on kind of audiophile vinyl, from what I can tell, because there's nothing to tell you what's gone into the mastering or anything, but it's $55, so it can't be just a straight reissue, I would imagine. I played this album, not this one, but an original of this, recently at home, and it's one of Sinatra's best sort of records about, like, it's almost like a character sketch of Americana in a way. It's a little different than some of his other sorts of things, but it's very it seems very heartfelt. Maybe some of you have more information about that, but Anyway, it's worth a listen for sure. And there's a CD version of that I should mention too, that has extra tracks on it. Don't know where that went. Anyway, it's here somewhere. Okay, Jens Lekman. So Jens, this is his second album. The Linden Trees Are Still in Blossom is the name of this version. It was originally called Night Falls Over Cortadala. And the other one is Oh You're So Silent, Jens, but it's now being called The Cherry Trees Are Still in Blossom. So these are the two sort of most famous Jens albums. They were the ones that sort of put him on the map. He's a Swedish artist, and I believe, yeah. And these came out in 2005 and 2007. And they're sort of great lo-fi, kind of 60s referencing indie pop records with lots of kind of string samples and things like that thrown in, loops, drum loops. And apparently he was asked about, are you going to be doing reissues of your albums, because they've gotten very expensive, the originals, and you can't find them online for large sums of money anyway, is what they sort of usually sell for. And his answer to that was, I don't really want to reissue them in their original form. I'm just going to re-record or remix them, do new elements to them, and then reissue them that way. So it keeps things fresh, but then you never are able to get the actual original without sort of paying extra for that. So that can go either way, and I think some people might be a little bit put off by that. But that's what he wants to do. So, and he's the artist. Let him do it. Another, let's see, another reissue here. We've got Saigon Kick. This was the only copy I think I was able to get. Their Rockin' 1991 debut, printed inner sleeve, deep purple vinyl pressing, limited to 2,000 copies. There might be more out there. This was kind of a big rock record when it came out in 91. So, but it certainly was like not on the side of grunge and Nirvana that kept Saigon Kick like a really big name. It was sort of more like they were kind of more towards the hair band that I don't remember them being able to really make the transition the way that the grunge bands did. Sonny and Cher, it's another sort of looking back like Nancy and Lee. This is the album All I Ever Need Is You, and this features the songs A Cowboy's Work Is Never Done, sort of the single, I guess. And Here Comes That Rain. If they do Here Comes That Rainy Day Feeling. United We Stand. Well, you know. Oh, this has You Better Sit Down, Kids, too, which is kind of a classic track for them. Let's see. Another new release, AWOL Nation. New album, My Echo, My Shadow, My Covers, and Me. This is one of a kind, recycled vinyl, mystery colors. So if you're an AWOL Nation fan, now's your time. Reissue of Toto 4. So the album that has Africa and Rosanna on it. And this is an RSD Essential. So these were ones that were pressed to order, really. And it's on Bloodshot vinyl, whatever that means. I'm sure that it's visible on the internet somewhere. And then Death Grips. We have not had this album for a while, The Money Store. It's a huge seller, and for some reason it was in the supply chain things about a year ago. They stopped making it. So here we have it again, finally, and this time it's on half black, half white vinyl, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Ooh, this is starting to run long. The Matrix, Don Davis. This is the original score to The Matrix, so it's not the soundtracky pop songs. It's a 3 LP set, deluxe, stunning new art design. Yeah, 3 records. 3 records of brooding soundtrack music. I mean, cool stuff. Crowbot. This is their new album. And it's called Feel This. 3 words for this kick-ass album. Dirty groove rock. Not like your dad's band. That's what it says on there. Limited edition on red vinyl. The thing that I have to give Crowbot for this is that it's only $18 for this album, which has 12 songs on it, and that's a pretty good deal. Usually, so many records now are coming out in the $25 to $40 range, so to see something $18 is, well, if you're a kid and you like rock and roll, there you go. S.G. Goodman, Teeth Marks. She's sort of a Americana singer-songwriter with a little bit of a kind of a rock folk edge, I suppose. I don't know how to explain it. But she has songs on here called Work Until I Die, Dead Soldiers, and Patron Saint of the Dollar Store. So you might want to check her out if you think... I love how the cover is sort of like a kind of a connect the numbers sort of thing. It reminds me a little of that Who by Numbers. Chainsmokers, their latest record, So Far So Good. I don't really know much about the Chainsmokers. I don't listen to them that much. I did read a little bit about this. It said that it's an album that's fairly devoid of a lot of the guest stars that they've had. This album is more about them. So if you really want to get sort of to the essence of what their music is, that might be for you. A couple other things here. Ornette Coleman. This is called Tomorrow is the Question. This is a reissue of an album released 1960 on Contemporary Records. And I believe when I went to get more of these that they were already back ordered. So if we don't have it right away, I hope your heart isn't crying, because there will be other chances, hopefully, to get that. And also The Damned, Phantasmagoria. And this is The Damned seminal punk album, punk, seeing their first major label release with Phantasmagoria in 1985. The Damned emerged beyond their punk rock foundation, introducing gothic and spooky pop elements into their songs. That's pretty accurate, I think. Mastered for vinyl by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. Faithful, updated rendering of original artwork, and manufactured for pristine sound at Quality Record Pressing, QRP. Wow. I mean, it is, I don't think it's 180 gram. It says 150 gram black vinyl. But still, I mean, you got a lot of, like, going into the remastering of that. I bet it sounds great. Okay, that's really it for records. I got a few CDs here that would be of note. So, you might be asking yourself, where was this on vinyl? This is Rolling Blackouts, CF's new album called Endless Rooms. It came out on CD, or came in on CD. For some reason, the vinyl has not shown up yet. And I'm just looking right now, and they still don't have it at the warehouse. So another sort of big CD release this week, and I don't know what's happening with the vinyl on this, is Tedeschi Trucks Band. And this is their new, I guess I'll call it an EP. It's called Crescent, and it says episode 1 of 4, I Am the Moon. This has 5 tracks on it. It makes me feel like the tracks might be a little long, since it's sort of almost the price of a regular album, but not quite. So keep your eye out for vinyl of that. I'm actually still kind of riding high off their Layla that came out last year, and that covers album that they did was amazing, and we went months and months without being able to get that on vinyl, and that finally showed up again. So let's see, in that sort of realm, Dickie Betts and Great Southern, and this is live at Rock Palast 1978 and 2008, and it's a double CD, double pack there. Actually, it's two CDs and I'm sorry, two DVDs and three CDs. It's actually 5 discs in here. It's actually a really good deal. Another sort of bluesy album, Sass Jordan, Bitches Blues. She was kind of a, like, I want to say a blues rock. Well, I remember her kind of coming out in like 1989 or 90. She kind of was like sort of like Alana Miles type, if people remember the song Black Velvet, like that kind of stuff. And I haven't really heard from her in a long time. This album is on Stony Plain, so she is like a legit blues artist. Another blues album, the new Charlie Musselwhite. This is the CD, Mississippi Sun. If you feel like you want the vinyl, let me know. New album from The Fix. It's kind of a dark cover. It's called, let's see if I can read it. I was looking for this earlier and I couldn't find the title. Every 5 seconds. Right. Yeah. It's been a long time since The Fix had a record out. I feel like that is very under the radar and not promoted very well. So I don't know what's going on with that. You feel like, Tears for Fears gets this massive rollout. The Fix was a huge band in the 80s too. They were probably only like a step below Tears for Fears in the sales category. They didn't necessarily sell in the millions and millions, but definitely the hundreds of thousands. And I think, I don't know, Reach the Beach probably sold 1 million in the US. So I'll have to Wikipedia that. But anyway, and then the last CD I had to show here is Luke Steele, and it's called Eccentric Farm. Luke, well, if you've ever seen Empire of the Sun, that's the lead singer, okay? And he used to go under the name The Sleepy Jackson, and then when Empire of the Sun took off, that sort of became his big deal, and now he seems to be sort of reclaiming his own name and identity. The record, what I've heard, sort of sounds like a more organic Empire of the Sun. So a little more produced than his early stuff was. But okay, I think that's everything at least everything that I can show you right now. R.I.P. Ray Liotta, R.I.P. Alan White of Yes, R.I.P. Andy Fletcher of Depeche Mode. What a terrible week. Well, it was all in like the course of a day. We lost 3 pretty important members of, 2 of important bands and 1 important actor. So, or all well known anyway. So, rest in peace, fellas. Okay. Thank you so much and have another great week. And that was a lot. Father's Day is coming, graduations, so time to get out and make sure you get stuff before the universal price changes really take effect. I'm already starting to see some things change. And I was going to show a record store day thing or two here for the drop on the 18th, but part of me feels like it's just still too early to be throwing that out on video. I know you guys are like, well, we know what it's all going to look like by now, and you're probably right. But, I don't know. Sometimes less is more, and leave some to the imagination until the time is right, right? That's why you listen to records. All right. Take care. Thank you. Thanks for bearing with this, and have another great week. I'll see you. Take care. Bye.